Welcome to Just Talking About Jesus. I'm Jan Johnson, a seasoned believer who loves relationships and, just talking about Jesus. Here you'll hear inspiring stories from a woman who went from using meth to starting a ministry in Kenya, or the man who had a life-changing encounter with someone in Home Depot, of all places, or a woman who has endured years of chronic pain after having her gallbladder, spleen, and pancreas removed. Every conversation goes deep into how God has changed lives and brought us to a place of surrender, sharing joys, sorrows, and just life in general. We don't have to go it alone because we can go hand in hand with Jesus on our journey. Jesus desires a relationship with us, with you. He wants to know us intimately. Revelations 12:11 says, "And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony." That's what I'm talking about. The word of our testimony. Just talking about Jesus. Join us each week.
He's the same today as he was yesterday as he will be tomorrow. He's going to handle it. And we've got to remember. And when I struggle, there are times when I really struggle to trust the direction he's taking me. And there are times when I will sit and say out loud so my ears can hear it, God, I trust you. God, I trust you. God, I trust you. Even if I don't at that moment. I say it until I do.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to episode 62 of Just Talking About Jesus. Last week, we heard from George Cisneros, whose answer to the question, "Do you really love me?" set in motion a drastic change in his life. Christina Custodio is a speaker, author, teacher, photographer, and encourager who has a gift for seeing God's hand in every detail of life. Her journey took a profound turn in 2015 when her son nearly died, leading her into ministry and inspiring her book, When God Changed His Mind. Known for her humor, authenticity, and unwavering faith, Christina connects with audiences by sharing real-life struggles and victories with grace and joy. Whether speaking at conferences, mentoring women, or pouring love into her family, she reminds others that God is always present, even in the chaos. A devoted wife to Ozzy, mother of 3 young adults and a new son-in-law, she navigates life's ups and downs with wisdom, laughter, and a heart for serving others. Christina's mission is to encourage people to embrace their purpose, live fully in God's presence, and trust that He is always there for them. As believers, we read scriptures and nod our heads in affirmation. Some scriptures stand out to us more than others depending on where we're at certain seasons of our life. But one scripture stood out more than others to Christina Custodio, and that was 2 Kings 20, 1-6. When Hezekiah fell seriously ill, the prophet Isaiah told him that he would not recover. Hezekiah prayed fervently, and God heard his prayer. God changed his mind and granted Hezekiah 15 more years of life. Today, we'll hear how that prayer for Christina's 13-year-old son was answered. Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Just Talking About Jesus. My guest today is Christina Custodio. Welcome, Christina.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to have a chance to talk to you.
I met Christina at the Northwest Christian Writers Conference, and she did some amazing headshots for me.
You have an easy subject.
Well, thank you. So that was really fun. It was a great conference too, wasn't it?
It was wonderful.
Yeah, really inspiring. So Christina, you are a speaker and you've written a couple of books and whatever. How did you come about to be a speaker?
Well, it was about, I would say, 16 years ago. I was attending a Women of Faith conference, if you remember those.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yes, I miss those. And I don't know who was speaking, and I just heard in my spirit, "You're going to do this."
And you're going,
Yeah. And I was like, "Do what?" "You're going to speak to women like this on a stage." And it kind of freaked me out. I knew that wasn't me because it's not something I ever wanted to do. And I literally said out loud, no, thank you. I told God no because I didn't have a,
That's not the first time he's been told no.
no, that right. He could handle that. But I thought all these women have these amazing stories of trials in their lives and faith through it all. And I don't have that. I don't have a story. So no, thank you. Like that doesn't even make sense to me, you know? So I went years passed, and always in the back of my mind, I kind of thought, what is he going to do to me to give me a story?
Ooh.
Every so often, that would kind of pop up in my head, like, what is he going to do to me? Which is, that's not a very nice thought. But I thought maybe he changed his mind. Maybe I didn't have to do this thing because, many years passed. So I think it was about 6 years later. I got a phone call after I dropped my son off at football practice. And they told me he had a headache and I needed to come get him because he didn't need to practice that way. And I went to pick him up and it was clear something was more wrong than a headache. He was only saying one word at a time. He kept saying home. He wanted to go home. And then he said hurt and he was pointing to his head. And finally he said help. And I thought, oh, that's not normal. So I took him to the hospital. And by the time we got there, he was unresponsive. His eyes were open. He was moving involuntarily, but he was not there. And we ultimately found out that he had a severe brain hemorrhage after some tests. And that's a scary thing anyway, but it was even more scary for me because I always felt like he was going to die at a young age. I always had a feeling, I don't know where it came from. It was just something I always felt. I would check on him more than I checked on my girls. It was very strange. So that evening I thought, oh my gosh, this is it. My son is going to die, but he was only 13.
Yeah.
I thought, oh no, it's too early. We can't do this. So he had to have emergency brain surgery. And we were in the waiting room there. We had lots of friends and family filling that room. And I had to get away for a minute. And I walked out and I went into the bathroom and I knew I needed to pray because that's what we do in those situations. And but I didn't know how to pray because I thought, well, God's already told me what's going to happen here. So all I could think of to say was, God, change your mind. So I just said it over and over, God, change your mind, change your mind, change your mind. I had no other words. So that was my prayer. And I got up, I walked out of the bathroom, and I felt perfect peace.
Mm.
I don't know if it was perfect, but I felt peace. I knew that we would be okay, regardless of what God chose to do or chose to let happen. I knew that my marriage would be okay because that's often the first thing to go. I knew that my girls would be okay, and I knew I would survive. And I realized then that that was going to be the story he had for me to tell as a speaker. And I didn't know if it was going to be, mother loses her son and still has faith, or if it was going to be, he survives. And this is how she dealt with these things. And thank God he survived. And, as we were praying for him, praying for the surgery to be successful, that was one of the things that I promised God, and everyone around me really promised God, that if he saved him, we would make it count, that we would tell people the story, that we would give him glory for all of the things. And that is what I have tried to do since that day. And, there's more. We were in the hospital for 44 days where he had to learn how to do everything over again. Walk, talk, read, write, all of the things. And
Been there.
we learned so much during that time. So I wrote a book about all of the stories, all the different things, all the ways we saw God during that time, and lots of miracles
Yeah.
throughout.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So then, but isn't that absolutely the truth, though, is that the people who have stories to tell, they have a story because they went through something.
yeah.
And because they went through something, you
Mhm.
get stronger and more
Absolutely.
faith-filled, and you see God's grace more, and
Right. Right.
and it spreads. And what happens to you, other people see it, and
Mhm.
it's contagious.
It is. And I did think at some point, if I didn't have a story like that, even if my life was mostly smooth and I just trusted God my whole life, that actually could be a story too, because we need those people. We need to know that it's possible, to stay on the right path and just trust God, because there are those people who actually have lives where they just trusted God.
Hard for me to
It's
imagine, but
rare,
it's true.
right? I don't think it's common, but those people exist too. And, it's to know that it's possible to stay faithful, and
Yeah.
just have a faith filled life without all the problems. Some of the problems we've brought upon ourselves, or some of them other people have brought upon us. But, it's all about how we handle it, what lenses we're looking through.
Yeah, yeah, and that whole the God attitude is everything,
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
isn't it? Yeah, yeah,
The
and I think even through part of that, your story there, isn't that part of what brings you purpose?
it does, and that was something I'd struggled with a lot of my life. What am I here for? What am I supposed to do? Why did God put me in this family or this living situation? And I had a good family growing up, and I was loved, I was cared for, but I was raised in a community where I was one of the only Black
Mm,
people. So, or our family was. And when I went to school, I was generally the only Black girl, or maybe there was one other. Or so I didn't understand really why God would put me in a situation like that. I didn't know what my place was, what my purpose was. I was irritated, even though I was used to it. That was my life. It was okay. But there were times where felt like I didn't belong. I didn't have a place. And what am I doing? What is he doing? Why did he place me here? And now that I've gone through, I think I've seen it more since everything happened with my son, because that put me in a place where I'm able to tell a story, and not just that story, but a story of my life and how I've seen God work through all the different things, whether it's who my parents are, what school I went to, who my friends were, whatever it is. I have seen God working in that, and how he has used all of it to help me teach others basically how to walk through life. We all have felt at some point like we don't belong. And we wonder, well, what am I doing here? Like, what is the point of this? Why did God let this happen? Why did he make me this way?
yeah,
And I've had all of those questions. And even in the frustrating parts of my life, I can see him and I see why he's allowed those things to happen. There was a purpose. There's a purpose. I don't believe God does things to us. I don't believe that he says, "I'm gonna strike Jan down with this ailment or with this issue." I think he allows those things because he sees the bigger picture. What what the evil one means to harm us,
mm,
God can repurpose.
right.
I believe he repurposes our pain, and he does not waste our pain.
I think part of it wraps around our identity.
Yes.
It's like a lot of times, and maybe just growing up as kids or teens or
Mhm.
whatever, we're looking. And what do I look like?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
can I do? What am I capable or successful in
Mm-hmm.
doing when I'm looking around to see who else is?
Right. We're comparing.
Right. And I think it's maybe even worse with social media, but
Mhm.
then when we define ourselves by those things, this is how I look, or this is my hair. I wanted straight hair. I didn't want
Right.
curly hair.
That's
I
right.
wanted it to be my kind. I have, you know, beautiful eyes instead of these kind of murky, or whatever it is, or
Whatever it is.
whatever it is, and why can't I do this as well? Or I'm not as good at sports, or I'm not as
Mm-hmm.
good, whatever it is,
Right.
you're always looking
Right.
at somebody that's better and
Right.
then looking at the reflection on yourself, which it isn't what it should be. And
Right.
most of the time, who cares?
Right.
Really, you look at it,
Right. That's
nobody's
right.
really judging you by
They're not
those things.
judging ourselves and that comparison, I've heard the phrase comparison is the thief of joy because you can't just look at this special way that God made you. You're looking everywhere else. And I know that he made me and he made you for a very specific reason. We live where we live. We we know what we know. We've experienced what we've experienced for a very specific reason. And to look at whatever it is that we've been through and know that God can use it is everything. It wasn't we're not an accident. We're not accidents. And just to accept, and I have finally done that. I'm so grateful for all of the things that I've experienced. I'm grateful for all of the things that I wanted to be different growing up because I was the different one. And so I wanted to look like everyone else. But I'm so grateful now that God made me special. He made me different. He set me apart, and He has set all of us apart in different ways. And I just to say, okay, I get to be me.
Right.
There's no one like me. And that is a beautiful thing because then I can share who I am with others and accept myself for who I am so that others can say, "Oh, I'm different too.
Yeah.
I can accept me for me too." Just
Right.
even though we're not perfect
Mm.
to ourselves, we are perfect the way God intended.
Right.
And I think about that with my son. I expected him after we were in the hospital for 44 days. I had such faith that he was going to walk out of that hospital perfect,
Perfect.
better than he was before. I'd somehow thought he was gonna tap into some part of his brain that made him a genius. And, I mean, he was a smart kid always, but, I thought he's gonna be even better. God's gonna do this thing, and he's gonna be perfect. But that's not what happened. He does still have some deficiencies. He's still amazing. But I learned that he is perfect still, the way God intended for him to be, because his story speaks volumes. The fact that that he walks with a limp, that he doesn't have full strength on his right side, yet he still has so much joy and so much faith. That is the testimony. If he had come out what I considered to be perfect, I don't think his testimony would be as strong. But he can praise God and he can thank God for his life, even in his imperfection, his perfect imperfection. That's how I see it. And that's all of us,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like we're supposed to give thanks and everything. And
Right.
you're thinking, really?
I know. Right.
Really?
Right.
But really, because he cares more about how he's going to transform our heart
Mhm.
than he
Mm,
cares about anything else. I really believe,
I agree.
I
Yes.
mean, and whatever avenue he needs to take,
Mhm.
gonna go there with it.
Yes.
And this
And
wasn't just about you, what happened to your
that's
son,
right.
right?
That's right. It
Wasn't just
absolutely
about
wasn't.
you, it was about him, it was about your husband, your
Right.
daughters, your family, your friends, everybody else as well. It's like he takes one,
Mhm.
does something there, and it multiplies.
That's right. And if we allow him to do that instead of fighting and saying, well, this is not how I thought it would be, this is not what I wanted for my life. How many times do we do that? And we fight against what he's trying to show us.
Mhm.
It's very difficult to live life that way. So if we trust him and say, God, this is not what I planned, but I trust that your plan is better, we can walk through this life with so much more joy, with so much more. And even I was grateful, and I continue to be grateful that God shows me while I'm in it where he is.
Mhm.
For example, when we were at the hospital, we had so much support. It was like church potluck every night for the first few nights. I mean, we had a table in the waiting room and there was just food covering that table. And this is where it wasn't about us because there were other families who didn't have that. And we were able to share our food with those families who were there with their sick kids
Yeah.
because we had something they didn't.
Yeah.
And I could see it then. There was another woman there was a woman that I met, and I could see that I could tell her shoes were too small on her feet. She didn't have much, and she was there with her toddler. And I was able to ask her some questions and found out that she was in need. So I just sent a text to our church family and said, this is what this woman needs. And she got bags of clothes and food and shoes. And it was things like that almost every day where I thought, I get it. I get it. This is really hard. I don't like that we have to be here. I don't like that we have to go through this. But God, I see that it's not about us. I see where you're going with this. So I just kept my eyes open for whatever it was he was trying to teach me, us, and I had joy
Yeah.
and I got it. I was able to have joy because I could see beyond our circumstances. And it was the coolest thing. It was just, now I get why we can consider it pure joy whenever we go through trials of many kinds, like James.
Which doesn't mean that you don't cry.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I mean,
There
you
are tears,
still you because
screaming, yelling.
yeah, you still grieve and you still, go through all the things. It doesn't mean that, "Oh, now I can totally just walk on
That's
clouds,"
right.
in the midst
Right.
of the circumstance,
Right.
but the underlying is, yes, I can have joy, but I'm still gonna be able to express my emotions. I'm still gonna
Absolutely.
doubt some things even though I know the big trust
Uh-huh. Yes. Which is really hard.
is out there because sometimes it's a day-to-day thing that's really, really hard. Yeah,
Yes.
but
Yes.
to
We have
see
to start over sometimes every single day, and that's
exactly.
okay.
This
He
is
gets
why
it.
I think that in the Old Testament when they're walking through the desert and God says, "Set
Mhm.
up a monument here, set up a monument there." I think
Yes.
that's really something we need to do in some format so that we can always go back where the
I
a God
agree.
moment was, you know?
That's right. That's right.
God did this here. God did this here. Remember how I did that? Now he's gonna do it here too,
Mhm.
you know?
And it might be in a different way, but he's the same today as he was yesterday as he will be tomorrow. He's going to handle it, and
Yeah.
we've gotta remember. And when I struggle, and there are times when I really struggle to trust the direction he's taking me. And there are times when I will sit and say out loud so my ears can hear it, God, I trust you. God, I trust you. God, I trust you. Even if I don't at that moment, I say it until I do. And I remember the times, like you said, I have to go back and remember the times he handled it.
Mhm.
Like when Isaiah was dying, I trusted him with my son's whole life, and if I could do it then, if I could trust him at that time, I could trust him with all the other things that
Yeah.
he brings to me.
That's why
And just
the song Waymaker is so
oh, it
that's
is.
like just speaks to me over and over and over again.
Right,
There's things
right.
that I got going on that there's no way. I don't see how you're gonna do this, God. How can anything be good in this? I mean, I've had a 5-year thing with my grandfather, and it's just like,
Mm,
yeah, he's working. He's working it to his
right.
will
That's right.
and
Right,
his end game, you know?
right. for his purpose. And he does have a purpose for each one of us.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of allowing him to fulfill that within us
Mm-hmm.
and not fighting, which is really an issue. I mean, the times I've told God no, I mean, really bold. His grace is, whew, because I have been very bold and said, I even one time said, I am practicing my free will right now. I said that to him. What in the world, you know?
Okay, look at Jonah.
Right.
He didn't have to go to throw you into the mouth of a whale, though.
Oh my goodness. I'm so grateful because good grief. I mean, he should have. He should have just tossed me into the ocean with a big fish and because the boldness that has come out of my mouth. But I think God understands that too. I mean, clearly, because he knows we're not ready. He knows sometimes I think he just gives us a heads up, like something's coming. This is coming. You don't have to be ready today. I'm going to prepare you. And all the things we go through, I believe, are preparation for something more, not always bigger, but something more. And so if we can just trust that he generally doesn't just throw us in the fire.
Yeah.
He prepares us. For me, he gave me about 6 years of thinking you're going to be a speaker somehow. Even though I didn't have any idea,
Yeah.
he gave me time to learn, to grow, to be prepared for that. And he gave me a specific story. Now, I've learned so much more since then. That's not my only I mean, we all have probably lots of stories to share in our lives. But sometimes it's a matter of when we don't know what he's doing. I think about Moses when he's like, he was called to free his people from slavery. Like, that's a big job.
Kind of
How
big.
many of us would
Mm.
want to do that, would want to, or think we are even capable? And Moses is like, I can't do this. I don't have anything. And God asked him, what's in your hand? And he had a staff in his hand. And clearly, we know the stories. That staff was used, turned into a snake. He stretched it over the Red Sea, all kinds of things. All that we have is what we have. And we can use any of it, any part of our lives, any part of our struggle, our pain. God uses it. So when we're wondering what our purpose is, well, what do you have? What's in your hand? What has happened in your life that you can share? What's been given to you, good or bad, because it can all be used. Just sharing our stories is huge because other people, we're not alone in our stories. We're not the only ones who have gone through something. People need to know that they are not alone. So there's purpose in that.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's interesting because I had never even thought about that. What's in your hand? Like, really, what's in your hand?
What's in your hand?
What is in your hand? That's,
Yeah.
wow, powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah.
What would you tell a person who really is just floundering around? Like, who am I? What is my purpose? What would be?
I think even though pray, talk to God, have a conversation and say, God, I don't know what I'm doing here. I need you to show me. And sometimes he shows us and we don't like it. And so we kind of reject what he's telling us. I've done that. But it doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't matter who you are, what you've been through. What do you have? What
Mhm.
what pain do you carry? Even that, God can use it. He does not waste our pain. We waste our pain. It doesn't have to be wasted. It can be repurposed. We do have to get to a place, I think, where we're healed, where we have scars instead of wounds
Yeah.
before we can truly, reach out and share. And that's okay. That's our season,
Yeah.
a season of healing.
Hmm.
But I think just we've got to ask God, what do you want me to share? What do you want of me? Is this something that can be used? I'm going to just say yes, because he can use anything. He can use everything.
Yeah.
And, when we don't feel worthy sometimes because we think I've gone too far, I've done too much. There's no way he can use this. Those are his favorite people. When you look at the people in the Bible,
Mm.
the big dogs, those were the biggest sinners, right? In our minds, the biggest
Yeah.
sinners, murderers and liars and cheaters and adulterers and prostitute. I mean, those people are in the lineage of Jesus,
I know. I know. I know. It's just like, okay, okay,
right?
because they are his chosen people,
That's right.
you
He
know.
didn't choose any perfect people.
No,
If we look other than Jesus, and
right?
look what he had to go through. Yeah. So
Right.
I don't know that we would want to be that person.
And even he had, yeah, even he had to go through all those things. I'm sure that when some of those people like Moses or, even Ruth going through,
Hmm.
come on now, really? I mean, all the men in my life have died
Right.
and all of
Right.
this, that's what you want me to do. I mean, you want to do that to me and, have
Hmm.
all that. I mean, it's easy to just get into that, like
Yes.
not understanding, but then I think it goes back to where he says to Job, "Hey, did you make the stars?
Right. Right.
Did you create everything?" It's
Right.
like, "You don't think I can handle this?"
Right. I think that's a big part of it, is that we put our own strength, we assign our own strength to God and our humanness. And it's just hard for us to imagine that he really can, but he's the creator. Of course he can handle it. He can even handle our screaming and yelling and crying out, "Why would you let this happen, God?" You know?
Or our 2-year-old, "No."
Right. Or our 2-year-old, no, temper tantrum. Yes. I've had
Stomp your feet.
temper tantrums. Yes. Literal temper tantrums here. He can handle all of that. And I think I know he wants us to bring even that to him, bring our frustrations, our tears. He created us with with these emotions,
Mhm.
and he knows it's hard,
Yeah.
but our world is fallen. This is not how he intended for life to be. He did not intend for all of this pain and struggle. He allowed it, and this is how it is. But I believe he grieves with us, in these times. It's not what he wanted for us.
Which
Shouldn't be
is
this hard.
why I believe that he came down as part man, part God, so we could see that he understands
Right. That's right.
all of it, you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
I mean, how would we know? How would we have that?
You're
I mean,
right.
really, if you just had God and you really didn't know that much about the Holy Spirit because
Mhm.
Jesus, God sent the Holy Spirit after Jesus died,
That's right.
even though it's throughout the Old Testament, but
You're
still
right.
not for everybody,
That's right. Right.
But doesn't it also, if you look at somebody, my sister is atheist, and it's just
Mm.
like, so what do you,
Where's your hope?
you take God out of your whole life, or comprehension of life or whatever.
Mhm.
How do you, how do you do it? I mean, how do you not see, to see a bigger picture because we have an eternal
Right.
picture.
That's
We
right.
know that this life is not it,
Right.
and our hope is somewhere else. And we know that we
Right.
have heaven to go to. And
Right.
that's really even as much as all the stuff that happens to us and around us. And she's
Right.
a whole ton of thing happened, just one right after and a major, major thing
Mm.
happened. And it's just like, really, how are you even doing this? Because I don't get this.
Right. I don't understand,
Yeah.
because he is our hope, and I don't know how you live. Well, people don't live without hope.
you
They
know?
don't live without hope.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there isn't anything to hope in, you know? You can hope
Right.
in the doctors. Well,
Right.
they're not God,
That's right. That's
you
right.
know? And even at their best, they can only do what they can do, you know? So
Right.
what do you hope in to, I don't know.
Right. I think, and I understand it's the whole why do bad things happen to good people question. We hear that all the time, and people use that excuse for not believing in God. Well, if there was a God, why would he
Right.
let this happen? Well, one, free will. I mean, the
Right.
fall of man, and yes, he has allowed it, but
Mhm.
he also sees the bigger picture. And another example I found when I was going through things with my son was we were still in the hospital. He, like I said, it was 44 days. And in that time, a woman came in with her son. I think he was a little boy. And he had the same thing happen. He had a hemorrhage. He had an AVM rupture, which is what it was with my son, a blood vessel ruptured. And he was there a couple days and he was getting ready to go home and he was fine. He didn't have any apparent damage to his brain or anything else. And I got angry
Yeah.
for a minute.
What?
Like, really, God?
Yeah.
The same thing happened and he gets to go home and he gets to walk and talk and be normal like he always was. I was so angry, but very quickly, God reminded me that there's another mother who lost her son, many other mothers. And there might be a woman who's looking at me saying, well, why did she get to keep her son?
Mhm.
She got to keep her son and I didn't. And it was then that I realized everybody has a story, everybody's in a different place. God uses all of it for his purpose.
Yeah.
And I think we're just not big enough to see why. All we can do is trust.
Mhm.
And for me, I don't know that if he had died, I would like to say that I would be doing the same thing. I would speak and share about the faithfulness of God and how good he is. I want to say that that's what I would do, but I'm not sure that that's true. I think in my situation, it needed to happen a specific way so that his will could be done,
Mhm.
in our lives and the lives of other people through this particular story. For others, I've heard, and I have many friends who have lost children, and their ministry through that loss is amazing.
Yeah.
And they are helping people and they are touching people. I don't know that I would have been that person, So God can do anything with
Yeah.
whatever. He knows what we can handle, always with him, but we just have to trust the creator and he can use all of it. And this place is temporary.
Right.
This is temporary. This is not, thank God we don't have to do this for eternity.
Right.
The whole point is eternity. So during this temporary period of time, we've just got to do the best we can so that eternity is perfection and no tears and pure joy.
Yeah. 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 One day there will be no tears.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to that. And I look forward to running and jumping. Right now, that is not something I can do. That's another part of my journey where I've had some real problems with my foot, and I won't even go into all of that. But I am coming up on a year of struggle, open wound, and
That's
it
a
has
long
not,
time.
it's a long time, and I've been frustrated about it. But I have also seen God working through it. The people I have met and been able to talk about God to has been amazing. There have been divine appointments that would not have happened if I was healed. So I kind of, at this point, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get
Okay.
why you haven't healed me yet, and it's
Just
okay.
bring it on. Bring it on more because I want to do what
Just
you want me to do.
right. I mean, I can, because I trust him, because I know that he's doing something beyond me,
Yeah.
I can hang in longer. I can deal with the pain and the suffering because it's bigger than I am.
Yeah.
It's not about my pain and suffering. It's about what he's doing through it. That's what's in my hand today. My pain and suffering is in my hand today, and it's taking me, it's part of my purpose. And nobody wants that to be part of their purpose. Of course not. But it actually brings me joy. I was able to meet this woman who was checking me in to an appointment, who I found out wants to be a speaker and writer. And just the day before, she had asked God to bring her someone that could help her on that journey.
Huh.
The day before. And I
Mhm.
was able to share with her conferences to go to and what she could do to get going. I mean,
Yeah.
it's things like that that I think, all right, it's good.
Yeah.
I get to help somebody through my pain, and that
I
is okay.
call those, I think they're God winks.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
I look for them. I look for those because that's how I'm getting through.
Yeah.
There's a purpose in all of it.
Yeah. 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 That's just it. They're just those little reminders, and they do bring such joy. All right.
Right.
All right. All right. I got it.
Right. When you first read that scripture, did you wonder, I don't know if you remember the first time reading it, consider it pure joy whenever you go through trials of many kinds. I mean, the first time I read that, I'm like, that makes no sense. How in the world am I going to be joyful
Yeah.
about trials?
Yeah.
And it's not that we're happy about it, but what comes out of it is where the joy is found, what he's doing through it. I mean, it's amazing. It's a joy, it's a blessing to be part of that plan. I'm not gonna ask for it.
Let's be clear. I'm
Right, let's
not
be
asking
clear.
for this.
I'm not asking God for the trials, but if they come, I can find joy in them.
If they come, you and me, we got
That's
we're
right, and
gonna
they
get
will
through.
come, and
And
it's
now the
okay.
thing is, Christina, I just think the thing is, again, it's not just about you. It's your kids are watching you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
People around you are watching you
that's
and
right.
go, how did she do that? Look at her.
Mhm.
She's joyful in the midst of this.
Right,
Would God really do that with me too? You know?
and the answer is yes, if we allow him. We've got to keep our hands open
Mhm.
to receive whatever it is that he's giving us or allowing to happen. And just, when you think about car accidents and you see it coming, you brace and you often get more hurt because every part of your body is clenched and fighting what's about to happen, right? But the people who are asleep in a car accident or unfortunately drunk sometimes, those are the ones who don't get hurt as much, right? Because they weren't clenching. And I kind of see it the same way. If we just relax and trust God and let him do what he's going to do, it's a lot easier. It's not as painful, I should say. It's not easy, but it's not quite as painful because we trust him, because we're relaxed, we're resting in his will.
Any last words?
Oh, goodness. Well, I just hope that there's a lot going on in this
Yeah.
in this world and especially our country right now. And I think there are a lot of people thinking, what is the point? What is the point of all of this? And we don't really have to know. I mean, there is actually peace in trusting what God is doing. It seems crazy. It seems outlandish. Like, I got to do something, but he is working through each one of us. Every single one of us has a purpose. Some seem big, seem small, but wherever we are, if we could just trust that God is working through us and let him, because there is joy in everything that he has for us.
Yeah.
And just trust him. I mean, it says it like 365 times not to be afraid and, don't worry. And all of that is about trusting him. And we can trust him.
Maybe he really wants us to know that. Don't worry.
Maybe. It's possible that that's a really important thing to
You didn't
grab
get it
hold
last
of.
time. Here, let me say it one more time a
Let me
different
say
way.
one more time. And he says it because he is trustworthy.
Yeah.
And if we could just, even if you don't believe it, say it over and over again. If you're sitting in a corner, rocking back and forth, I trust you, God. I trust you, God, until you actually do. It's a really beautiful place to be in because he's not going to waste your pain. You can trust him.
Well, Christina's book is When God Changed His Mind. And you can read more about that, her story in there and her sons and all those miraculous things that God did with
Thanks.
them at that time. Just to fill your heart and soul with hope. And
Yes,
that's where he always comes through in things. So
always.
always. So thank you so much, Christina. Where can people find you?
They can go to my website, ChristinaCustodio.com, and that's where you can connect to all my social media and such. But I do write every single day on Facebook and just encouragement and just connection.
Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Jan.
So, just a reminder that sometimes God does change his mind. That alone is so powerful. We also see again that our testimonies are of what God has done. And if nothing special ever happens in our lives, our testimonies aren't as impactful, both for us and to those around us. That's not to say that God is showing you things if nothing is going wrong in your life. For Christina, this major event was there so that she could share God's grace and mercy and miracles to others. Listener, what has God done in your life that you could share with others? Maybe you're in the middle of the trial. Where have you seen God in the midst of it? What do you cling on to as you go through things? Each trial brings us closer to God. 1, because we seek him more. 2, because we learn to trust him more. And 3, because we tend to dig deeper in Scripture seeking his truths. Everybody, thanks for being here today, in your car, doing chores or yard work, taking your walk. If you found value in this episode, think about sharing it with a friend or family member. I'd like to recommend a book to you. I just read What the River Keeps by Cheryl Gray Bostrom. I've read her other 2 books before, which have been amazing, but I'm telling you what, this story of hers is so amazingly written. I just hardly have words for it because her descriptions are fabulous. Her vocabulary, just the way that she digs deep into the emotion of her characters, you just don't want to put it down. And she's got so much research that she's done on the Elwha River and the demolition of the 2-century-old dams. It's just amazing. So the description of the book is, Hildy Nybo is a successful biologist. Her study of the Pacific Northwest's wild fish, both a passion and a career. But behind her professional brilliance, Hildy's reclusive private life reflects a childhood fraught with uncertainty. Despite her father's love and her mother's sympathy, she grew up constantly losing even her most cherished belongings, unable to recall where she misplaced them. Haunted by the confusion of these early years, she now records her life in detailed diaries and clings tightly to memory-prompting keepsakes. Then her mother's health fails, and Hildy accepts a job near her childhood home, joining a team of scientists who will help restore her beloved Elwha River after the demolition of 2 centuries-old dams. There, Hildy settles into one of the cabins on her family's rustic resort, a place she both loves and dreads for reasons she can't fully explain. When local artist Miranda Rimmer rents an adjacent cabin for her pottery studio, Hildy shrinks from such a close neighbor. But then Miranda's carpenter brother Luke shows up to help with construction and captures Hildy's attention. Now, a few years beyond a tragedy that brought him to his knees, Luke recognizes a kindred soul in Hildy, and they build a relationship that dismantles the walls Hildy built to keep people out. As troubling pieces of the past surface, Hildy dares to wonder if she can banish the shadows that have burdened her and follow her river's course to freedom. It's a compelling story of forgiveness, redemption, and overcoming painful secrets that explores the beauty of the natural world. I'm telling you, you need to go out and order this book. It should come out in the middle of August, and I will stick a link in the show notes for that. I want to leave you with this scripture, Romans 8:37 and 38. No, in all these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us, for I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord. Thanks again for listening. So glad you're here. Look forward to being with you again next week. Do you have a friend or relative that would find value in this episode? Please share it. And you can let them know that if they'd prefer to watch, I always put these episodes on YouTube. So check that out in the show notes. And if you watch on YouTube, consider subscribing, because just as when you subscribe to this podcast and get notification when new episodes are out, the same will happen if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just Talking About Jesus. And then you won't miss an episode. Speaking of subscribing, are you getting my newsletters? These not only tell the guest stories, but also include pictures and links to the website and YouTube. I also add a little about my life, and who doesn't want to know that?